Oh, a bittersweet day. Chop saws. Going into semi-retirement. I'm going to go buy a new chop saw today. Well, after I go get it, I'll bring it in, put it together, and you can see what it looks like. But let's talk about these for a minute. I am really attached to them because, well, this was the first one. It was some things never worked really well with it, like the laser line that you can theoretically use on a board never worked. You can't ever see it. So that was kind of useless on this. But they're 10-inch slide. So the slide, these are all messed up, the tightening and loosening effect. So you can slide it. It does still tilt both ways. Typically, I think I can loosen it up, probably some more WD-40 or something. Come a little closer. This saw is at least 15 years old. It's long since lost its markings for degrees for a bevel cut. And so we had to figure out where it was for 22.5. It was really cumbersome. I think that's when that left, when it fell off, I think that's when we finally bought the other one. But you can see there are preset locks, but for a year or two or three, we haven't been able to tighten it so that it wouldn't, now it's locking in there. You couldn't lock it in place if it wasn't at a preset, no matter how hard we cranked on it. This long ago quit working. So quite often, as just if we knew we were going to be doing straight cuts, we'd leave that up and be extra cautious when we used it. It's not a safe method at all, but it worked. Time for retirement for this one. Just a lot of the markings are worn out. The stops are worn out. This is broken. We don't use the laser anyway, but that's long since gone. So the older saw, the handle is upright. So it's like a pistol grip, so to speak. I have always liked that. It doesn't take, like with this one, with it turned sideways, to pull down, takes a lot of more wrist strength. So through the day, as you're doing that, I've always felt that's just more, it's another muscle here that you're working. Whereas this one, it's pretty much, it's a lot less effort to use this one. Let's go over and look at that one. By the way, I highly recommend these saws. It's just being used every day for hours a day really is hard on equipment. You can see this is wearing off. The numbers are getting harder to read. The presets still work. So the preset, this still sets really well if you're not at a preset. If you're wanting to be 29 degrees, you can get it there and it's fine. One drawback to this one is it's a slide compound. The other one doesn't have this part. It just slides, the lower part slides more. The drawback to this one is when you cut, sawdust is always flying around. Unless you have a bag on there, then you're continually emptying the bag. But this there's a little hole right in here, and there's a stop. I don't know how well you can see that is in here. When that gets filled up, you'll see a space. I've got to clean it out again. It constantly gets filled with sawdust in there, so that eventually, if you don't clean it out, you're losing more and more of getting your saw to draw back. So I don't really like this feature, but it's on the saw. That's what I've got. The stands. These are DeWalt stands. They work well. with, they have a quick release, so you can just mount that on there, and away you go. It's a little tricky. You want to make sure you're getting it locked in right, or you'll break some of these releases. Both tables are really old, and they've got a lot of movement. That's bad. So I think we're going to get one of these for the new saw, if I can find one. Some of the big box stores that I've been checking out have had like one saw on the shelf. And I don't know, maybe they're hard to get. I didn't get one, so I guess it was hard to get. So the other drawback to the DeWalt stands is the support here. I had to add wood blocks to build it up because they kept releasing no matter how much you tighten the set bolts. And I kind of like wood to slide boards over on anyway, and make it a little bit wider in case you're dealing with a 2x12 or something like that. So that's a change I made. This one, you can see I handcuffed it right to the table, to the stand, because the release points broke, and they don't really sell I'm sure I could have found one online, but this saw pretty much stays in the shop. It's kind of bulky to move around now with it attached. Having said that, I think it's time to go somewhere else and see if we can find a saw. There's 2 lumber yards further north, up in near Newport, Derby area. At that point, you're 10 minutes from the Canadian border. We'll go up and see what they've got up there. It's a beautiful day. Whoa. Anytime you go to buy a tool, it's a beautiful day. Here's a fun fact. So I'm heading up, we're in Vermont, heading up what's called Sheffield Heights in northeastern Vermont. It is we'll soon be up to the highest point of the interstate in Vermont. It's 1,856 feet. I know there's a lot of other places that are higher than that, but for Vermont, that's the highest point on the interstate. If there's snow, it's usually here is the first place it'll pile up. A lot of people put stickers on the sign right there, highest elevation, 1,856 feet. Occasionally my ears pop here. Hey, anyway, just a quick word about my videos. Typically for during the building season, right now it's winter, so things are pretty slow. But typically I like to put out a video Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for construction. There's sometimes odd off-ball things that come up, such as a collaboration with someone for a product. And so I was thinking I might just start doing on a Saturday morning, do a kind of a special, like a product review segment. I think it would be a lot of fun, and so far I've done that and I've really enjoyed doing that. I get a lot of interesting offers. They're all over the place, from I think I've mentioned a cordless goat milking machine. The people thought it was right up perfect for my channel. I don't even own a goat. Hold on, I gotta pass somebody. The roads are a little bit icy this morning, but nothing stops getting a tool, right? Away we go. What a beautiful day. It's going to be sunny. Currently, currently the temperature is 10 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got a cold spell coming. I was seeing in the forecast towards the end of this week 15 or 18 below 0 Fahrenheit. That would be probably the coldest day so far this winter. Good day to be inside and put a tool together. So I struck out. I did use up my store credit. I bought a stand for the chop saw. I'll have to find one somewhere else. Well, okay, so I did strike out at the first lumber yard, but I struck gold at the second one. I ended up with a 12-inch DeWalt compound miter slide, 12-inch. So actually that will I've always run 10-inch saws. This should be pretty good if I ever do a larger beam type cut. That's right, Sticks and Stuff. What a catchy name. Let's go home, put this thing together. Trail groomer for snowmobile trails. That hasn't been out much this year. And we're back to the shop. Let's take this in, see what it looks like. Big day. Back. The grand bring in. Oh. Yes, it's snowing a little bit. Oh, ooh. All right. Let's open it up. First things first, a miter saw stand. I already see something different. Looks like maybe an improvement. Let's see. Come on. Ugh. Don't make me get rough with it. Easy as that. Apparently some assembly required. Hi, gee mama, look at this. This is I can already tell it's a huge improvement over what was there, what was on the old ones. As well as the way that it's released, to like it's locked. To release it, you just push that in. Let's look at the other ones just for a minute. The other ones have a push button. It's really cumbersome. You have to get it just right. For 15 years, I've dealt with that. That one improvement alone just made my day. And this is a lever for the release to slide that out. I'll stand it up and we'll take a look at it. Nice. Wow. So you can see that, let me make sure you can see. So the obvious differences are the release mechanisms versus a push button. This one has a knob. This has gotten worn out, by the way. That's another reason, like you can tighten it all the way and it still slides, I'm pretty sure. Okay, that's locked. Of course, it's brand new, so it should work. It's that easy to tighten it rather than a turn. And it's consistent with all of the other knobs. I really like that. So we'll mount these onto here and see what those look like. Okay, so a couple differences I've noticed already. This is a 1/2 inch shorter from the floor than this one. This is 32, that's 32 and a half. Looks like that one's the same, 32 and a half. These are the same setup. I'm a little disappointed in that. I'll have to end up doing these. This is kind of like a finish work table. It's not really for framing. I do use it for framing, so I'm a little hard on it. I know the feet, they're the same. We'll be losing those typically. Not to sound pessimistic, but that's on a job site where you're moving stuff around. It seems like they loosen up. So there's no change there. This is it's just a knob. So there it is, all mounted. These are supposed to be adjustable to get to the correct working heights to the top of the saw base, saw table. So that's that. I think, these mount to the saw itself. You can see them, well, I don't know if you can see them on here. These on that one both got broken. Could be operator error, probably was. Anyway, we'll mount those onto the saw, and then we'll set the saw onto that. And we'll set the saw up here. Woohoo! You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to tip it over. I looked at the cordless battery operated, but really I think it's a little too light duty for doing framing type work every day. So I went with the corded. There's a release on the back so you can change the bevel. Let's see. Ouch. My wrist doesn't work that too well. Oh, that turns real easy. What a positive lock. I love that. Let's talk about the power of these three saws. This one, they're all rated for 15 amps. So if you have a 15 amp breaker, theoretically, you won't trip the breaker. The motor itself, this one is 7.5 amps at 3,700 RPMs. This is 2 amps more at 2.1, 9.6 amps at 3,200. This is less amps, more RPMs. This is more amps, less RPMs. The DeWalt, it will run on a 15 amp breaker. It doesn't say how many amps this motor is. 3,800. A couple of differences. This one I had mentioned, this part slides in and out, and it has a pin that it's made so you can do a set so that it will only go a certain distance. But the little hole that it goes into fills in with sawdust And eventually that's as far back as you can get it, or there, until you clean it out. So you have to periodically clean that. This one does not have that, so I think already I like that part more. There's a collector, a dust collector, on all three of them. This had one, it kind of like sort of broke. It's in pretty bad shape. I'm sure it worked at one time. This one over here has similar to this one, except the opening has closed up, probably over time, so that it's pretty much useless. And that one's useless. It just throws sawdust all over the place. This one looks like a really good collector. Looks like this helps it to kind of lock in as you go down cutting, to point it towards that, and it comes right out the end. So I like that. The trigger, let's take a look at the trigger. This is apparently what they're doing with the DeWalt tools now. I have another one that's like this. It's kind of a safety lever. You have to push that over before you can activate it. Probably a good idea. Safety's always good, right? Mounting these is pretty straightforward. Just a carriage bolt, washer, lock washer, and nut. Front and back. These are adjustable, so I'm making them both exactly the same. Going a 1/2 inch is what, just so there's the same, so when the saw is on the stand, you'll be coming straight off and everything will be good. Should be pretty straightforward. Make sure the cord's out of the way. Can't lift with my right hand right now, so. And locked in place. All right. And after putting it all together, $509. The stand was $220. So we're into it for $730 or so, $730. The first cut. And I've got to get used to that. Okay, here we go. Wow. With that cut, I just noticed something. So when you cut, the sawdust is driven into here. It comes straight out of here. No matter what your angle is, it's shooting straight back. With the Makita, the outlet for sawdust is up here. So as you come down on the saw, it shoots it up there. I already know this contained the sawdust so much better. I think I'm actually going to maybe build something in the next day or two. So I'll put a video out about that using this, using my table saw and a few other items. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, make a comment. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. So I really appreciate it. Thanks and have a great day.